Hello friends and welcome back to Picture Astrology. In today's video we will see the effects of Jupiter in the 8th house for an Aries Ascendant horoscope. In other words, when we have Aries Ascendant, the 8th house also falls in the sign of Scorpio. So this video is about Jupiter in the sign of Scorpio for his Aries Ascendant horoscope. So in the Aries Ascendant horoscope, you see the first house will have the number 1, which basically shows the first sign, which is the Aries. And so this first house contains the sign Aries, and Scorpio will be in the 8th house, which will be the 8th sign also. So we will have a planet called Jupiter, which is generally associated with the yellow color. So I'm going to make a yellow color ball to signify Jupiter. And as always, before we see the effects of this placement, let's just quickly see what all areas of life this is possibly going to affect. So first of all, since Jupiter is placed in the 8th house, the 8th house significations will definitely be impacted. So primarily from 8th house we see longevity, which means, well, generally lifespan of a person. 8th house also shows your life force. So that is like a, 8th house is like spark plug of an engine. So to start an engine, generally you have to give that initial spark which kicks the engine up. So 8th house is like, it's your gut. What makes you get going, get up and get going, and what makes you jump out of your bed is usually that life force, which is signified by the 8th house. 8th house, also is related to everything hidden, which you don't normally see: hidden knowledge, hidden money, other people's money, etc. And it is also related to the death, the condition at the time of death, or the source of death. Now Jupiter rules 2 signs according to Vedic astrology, which are Sagittarius and Pisces. And these 2 signs fall into the 9th and the 12th house for the Aries Ascendant horoscope. So the 9th and 12th house significations will also be definitely impacted by this placement of Jupiter. So generally from 9th house we see a person's luck, how lucky the person is, person's ancestors, typically paternal ancestors, grandfather, luck of the father, how dutiful the person is, how well he performs in the society, his own duties and others' duty, etc. So it's a very important and very auspicious house. Then the 12th house. So 12th house is actually a very tricky house. 12th house is generally called as expenditure, but and people take it like expenditure of money. So definitely 12th house shows where you spend your money, but in essence 12th house is basically a house which sucks up all your life force. So any activity of life where your life energies, or where you feel exhausted, so where you feel that your life energies kind of goes away. Now those areas generally are like sexual relationship, so intimate relationship which kind of takes away your physical strength of you, or makes you exhausted, or any kind of expenditure, or any kind of going away from the physical life. It could be you go into hermitage, you become a spiritual person, so you're not interested in the mundane life, or you are put into prison, so you have to go away from from the life which everybody normally leads, or you get into addictions, or become a hippie, or those kind of activities. Anything which takes you away and almost make you quarantine from the normal physical life is the significations of the 12th house. So in that sense it's a very tricky house. Now as we know, in Vedic astrology every planet is assigned some special aspects. So Jupiter aspects 5th, 7th and 9th houses from itself. So the 5th house from this position will be the 12th house, which we already seen here. 7th house will be the 2nd house, and the 9th house from this position will be the 4th house. So the significations of the 2nd house as well as 4th house, which are generally related to money, your family, your education, your speech, your mother, your immovable property, your initial education at least, all those areas will be impacted by this placement. So now, since we have seen in general at a high level what all areas this placement has a say on, let's dive into one of them. So starting with the 8th house. See, 8th house, the very first thing which comes into mind is the longevity of the person, and a benefic planet in the 8th house, especially a Jupiter, which is a very strong benefic for an Aries ascendant given the lordship of the 9th house. Such a Jupiter generally imparts a good long life. So, and also the life energy, the life force generally remains good. So a person generally lives a long life, and the end of the life is also pretty peaceful. So it generally, or in many times, even refers to the end where towards the end of the life, person becomes very spiritual, and they die close to a temple or a church which they have been following, or they devote the later part of their life towards public service, towards the benefit of society. So in that sense, this placement of Jupiter in the 8th house is very good. Also because 8th house is other people's money. So people with this placement are pretty honest in dealing with other people. They generally are very eager to help others. It doesn't, how much help they can do is a different question, but they are very eager, at least. They want to help others. If they can eventually help them or not depends on many other factors. But this placement at least makes them an earnest doer, and that tendency increases more and more as they progress old in the life. And such people also have a keen sense of occult or any hidden knowledge, because 8th house represents anything hidden, and 8th sign Scorpio also shows knowledge which is not generally available to people. So these kind of people, or this placement, is very conducive to know astrology, to know Reiki or any other signs, or any other similar signs. And using those signs also, these folks can help others. But one thing to note, or one thing to take care about this placement, is also that from 8th house there is a direct aspect on the 2nd, and 2nd is the house of speech. And Jupiter especially is a planet which is not known for its modesty. So this placement, and it has been observed in many practical horoscopes, tend to make a person speak very, very highly about their own capabilities, about themselves. And that is something which generally causes friction in their relationship to others. And there are many times where people tend to just, engage with them only to the point where they have some work to do. And as soon as their work is done, they tend to kind of stay away from such people, primarily because of their tendency to speak a lot and a lot highly about themselves, which may not always be true. They won't do it intentionally, but it just so happens with them because of the Jupiter's aspect on the 2nd house. And that is a tendency which always need to be taken care of in this placement. And another thing to note or to take care because of this placement is the tendency to eat. The Jupiter's aspect on the second house, which is the house which shows our food habits, makes such a people a glutton. Now, especially because the ascendant is Mars, there is a lot of energy in the people. So combined with the Mars ascendant and Jupiter's aspect here, there is a tendency to eat a lot and gain weight very, very easily. And that extra weight can dampen their life force and life energies and cause a lot of diseases because of that. So these two things, the speech and food habits, are two areas which needs to be taken or given special care because of this placement. Now, coming to the ninth house matters. So for the ninth house things, this is a little tricky position because the Lord of ninth house is in the eighth. Now, any Lord, when it is placed in the eighth house, or any planet which is placed in the eighth house, shows a certain delay in fructification of things, because eighth is a hidden house. Eighth is not a strong or visible houses, or not a stronger visible house like the Kendra house or the Trine house. So, especially with Jupiter in this position, others may feel that you are endowed with so many good qualities. You will also feel that you are endowed with so many great qualities and you deserve something and you need to be more lucky, but there is always some delay. There is always one more obstacle before you get the thing. It could be like you have been so dutiful, so nice to teachers, but the teacher is kind of favoring other kids and not you. So don't get disheartened. This position just indicates it. So perseverance is the key here. Every time, many of my clients who had such placement, my advice to them has always been just keep going. This position of Jupiter can delay things, but it will not deny you the things. And especially because Jupiter is in a friendly sign. It's not the Scorpio sign is considered a very friendly sign of Jupiter. So things will fructify, though after some delay. So keep this in mind and keep working. Now coming on to the 12th house. So as we saw, 12th house primarily shows your expenditure, and this position also gives a little bit of duality when it comes to expenditure. So because the Lord of 12th, Jupiter is Lord of Pisces sign also. So because the Lord of 12th is in the 8th house, these people are generally frugal, or they think twice before spending money on themselves. So if you're trying to go and buy a new pair of shoes, you may think that, oh, I already have one pair of sport shoes and it's probably doing good, so why spend on another one? But they are quite generous at the same time, especially when it comes to helping others. And that is because Jupiter has a direct aspect on the house of expenditure. So anything when it comes to helping others or in social causes, say like building a community hall or helping others with education or helping kids with education or any kind of social service, especially when it comes to spending money on others, they have a very generous side. So there is this duality which has always been seen. Now 12th house also shows spirituality, prison or addictions. So the aspect of Jupiter on the 12th generally saves a person from any kind of wrongdoing. So prisons or addictions, etc. Generally this aspect is a blessing. It saves a person from doing any such things. But at the same time, it makes a person highly spiritual, especially in the old age. So many people who devote a lot of time in their old age to their favorite temple or the church work, or even become, some kind of volunteer in church activities, etc., have this kind of placement. So it is very good for spirituality, especially in the old age. Now quickly moving on to the aspects on the 2nd and 4th house. So the aspect on the 2nd and 4th house generally gives opportunity to make money in landed properties, but that doesn't come without some added responsibilities. Especially it gives responsibility of a larger family to support. Now the aspect on the 4th house is very good for education. It not only gives you a respect for the learned people, but you yourself could be highly educated person, and at the same time it ensures a very caring mother, which helps the person throughout the life. So my dear friends, this was my quick analysis of the position of Jupiter in the 8th house for the Aries Ascendant. I hope you like it. Please do post your comments, queries, questions, suggestions in the comments box, and subscribe to the channel for more. So until the next video, have a wonderful, blissful life. See you later. Bye bye.